You found yourself on another episode of Locked On Bulls. On today's episode, me and Pat are going to talk about the Bulls being absolutely disgusting and a loss to the Brooklyn Nets that have now pushed them to being tied with the Atlanta Hawks. And is it a real possibility that the Chicago Bulls could miss out on the play-in tournament? We're going to talk about all that and more right after this.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. That's Pat, the designer, host and creator of the Windy City Breeze, and host of the Chicago Bears podcast over at ESPN 1000. I'm Hayes, host creator of Chicago Bulls and Chicago Bears Central YouTube pages and podcasts.
That was crazy. My disdain went into a crazy set. That was insane.
Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $200 if your bet wins. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon.
Oh my God.
Pat, it sucks because we missed a win. So the people were deprived of getting to hear you do your dance with the music. But unfortunately, now at this point, the Bulls have now lost the game to the Brooklyn Nets. They now are only a half game. I thought it was one full game. We're only a half game above the Atlanta Hawks right now. The Hawks do play tomorrow. I believe they play the Bucks tomorrow, so they can very well pass the Chicago Bulls, which we'll talk about here in the second segment. But let's focus on this game against the Brooklyn Nets. The Bulls had one hot quarter in this game in which they outscored the Brooklyn Nets by 11 points. They lost every other quarter in this game. The Brooklyn Nets in this game went 25 of 44 from three-point range. A lot of that coming in the second half of this game. Mikal Bridges really goes lights out shooting, 7 of 11. Him and Dennis Schroeder both 7 of 11 shooting from three-point range. The Bulls just did not defend well. They didn't play with good enough energy. They didn't execute well enough offensively, even though they shot the ball 50% as a team. This was just one of those games where outside of a good quarter, the Bulls got their butts kicked the whole entire night.
What do y'all want us to say? What do y'all want us to tell you about this team that makes them competitive? What do you want us to tell you about this team that makes them worth watching? What do you want us to tell you? Like, just let us know so that we can lie to y'all face just like AK has lied to all of us. Because that's all this is. Competitive. Competitive means competitive means dick in the NBA, folks.
Can you say that on Locked On?
I don't know. Well, it got to be. It's a dude in the NBA named that, so you got to be able to say that a little bit.
Okay,
right?
okay.
Who's also not very good. So, and competitive means dick has to go to like Grady Dick in some way, right? Like, bro, I'm at a loss for words with the team, bro, because I'm never gonna sit here and tell you an athlete doesn't care. I think the franchise doesn't care. And I'll tell you this right now. This feels like a product of what Jerry Reinsdorf is at this point. I got to go to the White Sox home opener. The team feels the same. And their home opener, you have a little bit of confidence in like the day the game starts. We mustered out 3 hits. Detroit's not a good baseball team. We mustered out 3 hits. What do you want us to say? What do you want us to talk about? What do you want us to speak on about this team in somewhat of a positive manner? What do you want us to say about this team that has anything to do with a winning culture that is possibly coming? No Diddy.
Hey, Vooch's barber is bad, bro. Like, that's Vooch barber. Hey, he be putting in work, man. Vooch fade always clean, bro. Like, there's one thing you can say about Nikola Vucevic. Hey, he may not score or get a rebound for you, bro. But dude, legit, man. Hey,
this man Vooch Barber got it going on, bro. Vooch Barber,
Triple-double every night.
MIP, bro. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I just listen, y'all understand that we love this team. I can't give you what some of these Locked On shows give you because I live, breathe, and die by what this basketball team does. I can't sit here and give you the fake. I can't sit here and give you the, oh, well, there's the insight and there's this. It's bad. And they're bad. And I've been telling everybody this the entire season, and Bulls fans have been somewhat upset at me for being pessimistic, Pat. But I'm going to tell you this right now. Every single game for this Bulls team is a dogfight. And sometimes you come out on the good side of it. Sometimes you come out on the bad side of it. But this is a bad basketball team. It's just good enough to be at the threshold point that the NBA allowed the two extra teams to be at. And guess what it's been? That the entire time. There's no moment of AK's tenure where it hasn't been that. AK's tenure has been 6, 8, 9, and 9. And maybe it's going to be 9 and 10.
Competitive, bro. That's listen.
That's not competitive.
It is. It's competing with. Are we going to keep giving a damn about this team? That's what they're competing with. The fact of where the Bulls are right now is a culmination of a mix between decisions and then lack of moving off those decisions that have ultimately led the Bulls to where we sit right now. And while the Bulls are going to make, and they're going to win some games that we're fun, we're rocking and rolling. Yep. It's going to look great. It's going to feel great. But ultimately, I'm back at this place. Pat, you tell me if this reminds you of anything, because I believe this is how I finished last season as well. Nothing that happens to the end of this season matters or changes what needs to be done this offseason. And we need some serious changes. Full rebuild we know is not coming, but we need some serious changes. But the problem is I sat here about 365 days ago and told you the exact same thing. And guess what? Those changes were after AK said, you guys are going to be really surprised with what we do this offseason. They gave us Julian Phillips, Torrey Craig, and Javon Carter. And which are two solid pieces in that. Don't get me wrong, but that's nothing to sit there smuggling and be like, hey, listen, you guys are about to be so surprised by what we do.
Here's the thing. Solid as far as what?
Solid as far as Julian Phillips is a player with tons of potential. I would go so far as to say Julian works on that shot. He has at least potential that of should have been a first round pick. You got that in the second round. That's solid in getting that value there. Torrey Craig is a solid veteran off the bench, but the Torrey Craig signing, while solid, is the type of signing that, and again, this goes to what me and you both have said, AK makes moves like we're an Eastern Conference Finals team.
And here's my problem with that. Tonight, just tonight, because we can talk about the long term the rest of the day, right? The rest of this episode. Your solid moves netted you 7 points. By the way, one player got 7 points.
Yeah, because the other two didn't check into the game.
Your solid moves got you 2 for 3 and 1 for 2 from the 3-point line in 12 minutes. That's your solid moves this offseason. Solid. And that's my problem. And this is why, like, when I asked this question before, how many of these players would you keep? How many of these players do the Bulls want to keep? How many of these players do the Bulls care about? Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu, boom. You'll find something. You'll make something out of that. You'll figure it out. I think Kobe's going through a tough stretch coming off an injury. It is what it is. But listen, your solid moves of the offseason netted you a total. Yep, he didn't check into the game. 7 points. In a game versus a team that literally, if mine and Hayes's Akitas drank from it, they would both get violently ill and pass away. That's how bad the Brooklyn Nets are. Oh, by the way, you might be worse. That's why this team, and I get it, there's long-term goals. I understand the long-term picture, but when you look at the right now, how dare AK sit there and say we want to be competitive? What are you competing with? You're competing with a piece of garbage. You're competing with what a Coda goes outside and lets out in my yard every day. You're competing with refuse, garbage, dookie, whatever you want to call it. You're competing with nothing. You are competing with two teams in the NBA who literally are the worst teams in the NBA. And by the way, you've lost to all of the worst teams in the NBA this season. Every single one of them that are at the bottom, you lost to them. What are we competing for?
No, we're undefeated against the Charlotte Hornets.
I thought we lost one against Charlotte this year. Did we beat Charlotte all three?
I think we beat Charlotte.
Did we beat Charlotte all three? If we beat Charlotte all three, AK, I take it back. You're a little bit above a piece of garbage. You are crap still in the trash can, though. I don't
beat
know.
Charlotte all 3 games. So there you go.
And you lost to Washington, what, twice?
Yeah.
Did we lose to Washington twice?
I think twice.
We lost to Washington twice. We lost to Detroit
twice.
What are you competing for? What are you trying to win? Are you trying to win the first team to be bad? The best of garbage? What are you trying to win?
The best of garbage gets you a higher draft pick, so maybe that is what they're trying to get. Maybe this is just a master plan. I have no idea. But I do know one thing. We got to move out of this segment, so we're going to talk to you guys about one of our sponsors. So next time we can continue talking
all
about
of the segments of this segment.
Yeah, that's true. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings... Oh, wait, hold on. You got me?
I got it. I got you. I got you. Yeah, go do your read.
You got
me is the question
from eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to its peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you always find exactly what you're looking for. And with the eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber and not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items, exclusions do apply. The eBay Guarantee Fit only available to U.S. customers. All right, Pat. So you want to hear something that's concerning? 2 weeks ago, two weeks ago, 14 days, however you want to chop it up, the Chicago Bulls held a 4-game advantage over the Atlanta Hawks.
However you want to chop it up.
However you want to chop it up.
Saying the same thing is hilarious.
Yeah. We have now a half-game advantage over the Atlanta Hawks. Now, we do own the tiebreaker over the Hawks, so there is that. But if the Atlanta Hawks, who do play tomorrow, I believe they play the Milwaukee Bucks. Yes, they play the Milwaukee Bucks at home. If they win that game, they will pass up the Chicago Bulls for the number 9 seed. Now, that does benefit the Bulls in a couple of different ways. I talked about this in one of the episodes you missed. If the Hawks do pass up the Bulls, they go from having a 9% chance to move into the top 4 to a 14% chance. They go from having a 2.5% chance at the number 1 overall pick to a 4% chance. But other than that, that's the only really benefit I could pull from it. Pat, how do you feel about the Bulls now being tied to the Atlanta Hawks? And do you think there's enough runway here for them to hold on to that 9th seed?
What does being the better of the two bad teams mean?
What I just gave out. Better chance at balls. That's what it means. They're competing for balls. Lottery balls, but balls no more. Just saying.
Sorry, I didn't.
I heard. If you say balls are available 3 times in a row, the diddler will pop up. So
I was going to say I didn't know this was a Diddy party. I had no idea that.
Don't say it too many times. This Diddy will pop up in your background saying "take that," and then I don't know if you really want to hear that right now.
I don't want to take that. I don't want to take that. Listen, being the better of two bad basketball teams is not good. Being the better of the Atlanta Hawks or the Chicago Bulls is not good. You know what nobody in the NBA wants to be? The Atlanta Hawks or the Chicago Bulls. because they're in a position where maybe you have some good pieces, but how are you going to build around them? How are you going to take them to the next level? How are you nobody cares. I'll say nobody cares to the point. Listen, if Atlanta ends up going and passing the Chicago Bulls up, Atlanta has 2 players that are better than anything that the Chicago Bulls have on their roster right now, and they're at the bottom. The NBA is a different place. It's a different world than what we grew up in, and sitting there and beating your chest about a 9 or a 10th seed that gets in the playoffs. And we know AK is going to come out with, we got in the play-in. We felt like we had a couple of competitive games and we did very good. And so we felt like we had to go. Shut up. What are you competing for again? AK has people believing that the Chicago Bulls should be competing for the best of the worst. And that's not the case. You have a bad basketball team and you're just too stubborn to admit it. I can't believe we're here with AK. I honestly can't.
It's not how we thought we would be at this point in time. That's for damn sure.
When we took over this show, I never believed that we would be at this point.
Hey, I mean, listen, bro. It's this things are looking up around here, bro. Like, I don't know why they're looking up. I don't know how they're looking up, but they're looking up. I have some faith that right now. Oh no, that's just us looking down into the pits of hell. My bad. Never mind. I got a little confused.
I was gonna say, are we in hell and we're looking up? Is that what's happening? Like, the Bulls haven't made it here yet.
We up from here. But the thing is that keep in mind we were just not a handful of days ago talking about the Bulls being 1 game below 500. And this is why I felt the way that I felt. Getting to 500 doesn't matter because we weren't going to be able to stay there. And the only thing that I could think that comes out of this, whether it's the Atlanta Hawks passing up the Chicago Bulls, and while at one point I was like, no, the Bulls are going to be able to hold on to this. I mean, Trae Young went down and DeJounte Murray got to move back to point guard, and all of a sudden that team looks like it works again, right? To a lesser degree, but it's much better than what it was before as far as just the fit out there. And I do think, and listen, they had 2 wins against Boston. I'm not going to doubt that they can beat Brooklyn. I don't care. That's the biggest problem in all of this. It's not that I don't care about the team. I live and breathe the Chicago Bulls. I wake up and get to talk about the Bulls every single day, and it's a blessing. I just want to I make my living talking about the Bulls. I love doing it. It's a blessing. It's an honor to be able to do that. But outside of that, and outside of my love for this team, I have to look at it objectively. If I didn't have the emotional attachment I have to the Chicago Bulls, would I watch a Bulls game right now if it was on League Pass? And the answer is no.
And that's the problem. The team is not good enough to be competitive in a modern NBA. I don't think the team's good enough to be competitive in a modern March Madness tournament. Like I've had this issue with this team all season long. You're losing at math.
Yeah.
You shot 30% tonight from the 3-point line. You're losing at math. You suck at math. Whether you like it or not, if the Brooklyn Nets had shot 40% while shooting 44 threes from the field, they would have beat you.
Mm-hmm.
You're literally losing at the dumbest part of the game. You're not losing at strategy. You're not losing at defense. You're not losing you're losing a certain sense of defense.
I'm about to say we're losing in strategy as well. Like Billy Donovan gets out coach.
But I think here's the thing, right? You're not losing in the areas where you sit there and go, man, if you just didn't do this, you would lose. Like if you just didn't suck, you would lose. The Bulls just don't try. That's what pisses me off. You don't try to be a modern NBA team. How many shots did the Bulls take tonight?
50 something, I think. Give me 1 second. Let me get that pulled up for you.
Oh, I know. It's 75.
Oh, yeah. They took 75 shots.
Bulls
they hit that at
75 shots tonight. They got outshot by 16 shots. A team literally outshot you by an entire quarter in an entire game.
By a Giddy standard.
You got to do what you got to do. Take that.
Do your Aries, bro. Do your Aries, man.
They make more shots than you, but they took twice as many shots as you even thought about taking. That's my problem. That's my problem with the Bulls. That's my problem with the fact that we're now tied with the Hawks. Because guess what? When I was sitting there and I was like, if you're going to win these games, you got to do this, and you got to make this happen, and you got to win these battles, and you got to hit this point. None of that happens if you don't take enough shots. None of it. I guess I'm basing all of this off of being a modern NBA team. We're a struggling team for 2006. 75 shots? Like that's
actually a lot in 2006. The offense has changed that much.
No, I don't even know if that's a lot. That's a lot for an Eastern Conference team. In the West, you was taking 75 shots. In the East, you might be taking less. You might be taking about 65 shots, about 10 shots less. But I don't know, man. Like this Bulls team is just, it's disappointing to see a team that doesn't try to keep up.
In 2006-7 season, 75 shots would have put the Bulls at 29th in the end. That's crazy.
I told you. 75 shots. 75, bro.
In 2001, this is 23 years ago, 75 shots per game would have put the Bulls at 30th in the NBA.
Stop acting like I don't know what I'm talking about, dog. 75 shots, bro.
Oh, that's actually pretty funny there.
Dog.
That's hilarious, bro. Do your Aries, man.
Do you want to be, bro? Jesus Christ. Hey, listen, man, we got to tell you guys today's episode, unfortunately for the advertisers we have, is brought to you by Nissan, because they got to advertise on this dog water of a team. Are you the kind of driver that likes to push things a little further? Ever wonder what adventure could be around the corner? Our friends at Nissan have a lineup of SUVs with the capabilities to take your adventure to the next level. The 2024 Nissan Rogue is the perfect for city drives and great escapes. Class exclusive Google built-in is always updating assistant to call for almost anything. Gone are the days of connecting your phone. Google Assistant, Google Maps, Google Play Store are built right into the 12.3-inch HD touchscreen informant system. The 2024 Rogue is the perfect mid-size crossover for your next adventure. You also got to look at that 2024 Nissan Armada. It will change what you expect from a full-size SUV. Picture a rugged 4x4 that can set you up to seat up to 8 people in first-class luxury and style. Tow bigger, explore more. Further with the 2024 Nissan Armada. Take the Nissan Rogue, Nissan Pathfinder, or Armada and go find your next big adventure. Shop NissanUSA.com. We also have to tell you guys all about the Amazon Fire TV. Fire TV is your destination for sports, from live gaming to highlights to in-depth analysis. Fire TV offers an amazing viewing experience with the smart TV, as well as the Fire TV stick that you can plug into your existing TV to provide access to millions of movies, TV episodes, and free live TV. Whether it's opening weekend for baseball or college basketball tournament, you are not going to want to miss out. You're going to want to have that Fire TV. Fire TV recently created a Fire TV channel to deliver a consistent supply of the latest videos from your favorite sports brands, all for free. That includes us at Locked On here and most of the big pro leagues and college conference as well. Fire TV channels let you dive into all the in-game analysis, highlights, and more to keep up to date on all the latest in world sports, March Madness, NBA, MLB, and lots more. Not to mention great news, entertainment, gaming, travel, cooking videos as well. Check out Fire TV and Fire TV on Alexa devices. If you haven't checked out the Fire TV channels, you should. Trust me on this. To learn more, visit Amazon.com/LockedOnFire TV.
All right, Pat. Last topic of the day before we get up out of here, man. Simple question. Could the Bulls actually miss the play-in tournament this year? Do you think that that's a possibility? Right now, what is it? 4 games to separate them and the Brooklyn Nets, I believe. Let me get that pulled up. But do you think that that's a possibility that the Bulls could get passed up by the Brooklyn Nets, who do have right now, the Bulls are a 6-game advantage over the Brooklyn Nets with 8 games left?
It seems very difficult. But what doesn't seem difficult is that we may finish 1 or 2 games above them, which seemed impossible in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it seemed like it was going to be a foregone conclusion that the Bulls were going to be able to find a way to finish with this 9th seed. Now we're talking about struggling to finish in the play-in at all. And I'm not going to lie to you. Because we've seen the step back. Right, Io DeSumo tonight, solid game, 16 points, but a negative 27 plus minus. Kobe White, 18 points, but a negative 18 plus minus. So basically, he did nothing. What are you going to the playoffs for? And when I talked about the playoffs, I said, if you're going into the playoffs and Kobe White, Io DeSumo, Unaralt Bateem, right? Terry Taylor, guys like that, Kobe White, maybe AC are leading the way for you. There's a reason to go to the playoffs. Why are you going to the playoffs? Well, we want to get the experience. We want to be able to say that we competed. We want to get that understanding of what? Of DeMar DeRozan being your leading scorer and being the best player on the team. We got that. I figured that out 4 years ago. You know what that got me? Diddly squat. They got me a 1st-round exit. They got me a 1 win in Milwaukee. That got me nothing. That got me dog water. Are Kobe and Io the reason you're going to win games? Are they the reason you're going to win games consistently? Probably not. I like Kobe. I like Io. I think they bring a lot of good things to the table. But you know what star players do? They don't let other star players outscore them on a night in, night out basis.
That's not necessarily true. There's a lot of star players that suck. Dame, he got outscored a lot because his team lost a lot.
Dame got outscored by the other team. Nobody on Dame's team outscored him on a night in, night out basis.
Well, I mean, but that doesn't make a better team. Like, I mean,
you tell me the team where the lead player gets outscored night in and night out by a dude who is done.
Well, that's not what you said. You said don't let other stars. Pick your words there, brother. You said don't let other stars.
My point was that on this team that we have right now, you're talking about players of the future. If your players of the future are consistently getting outdone by other dudes on their team, they're probably not your star guys of the future.
It's not necessarily they're ascending. This is the first year of that happening. Now, I don't think anybody's made the conversation for them to be stars of the future. They're good players right now. They got a lot more to prove before they can be stars, right? But at the end of the day, too, Kobe's really, that's his biggest flaw. I had a video of that over on Central. His biggest flaw right now is his inconsistency. He's been slow since he got back from injury, things like that. But I think ultimately it's not just about just letting individual players outscore you. The team right now is at this place where the Bulls do nothing good. They don't do nothing comes easy to the Chicago. Everything the Bulls do is difficult. Everything. It doesn't matter.
But you know why? Because you're trying to figure out who's going to do simple, easy. DeMar's the only one that can do that. DeMar has a game that speaks to no matter what you do on the other side of me, I'm going to get my buckets. Nobody else on the team has that. Everybody else on the team has that in moments. Kobe can do that for moments.
Yeah.
Io can do that in moments. Those are role players. Those are guys that you look at. I would say Kobe right now, I feel like I would love Kobe as a number 2 on my team. I think he's stepped up defensively. He's stepped up as a leader. Ayo kind of the same way, right? You look at what they do defensively with leadership on the court, and you say, I would love those guys in these moments if they were being led by somebody else. You know who that is? That's the conversation we had. That's Luol Deng. That's Kirk Heinrich. Nobody wants to go to war every night with your best player being Luol Deng or Kirk Heinrich. You want Derrick Rose somewhere in there. Yeah. And then you say, my number 2 and number 3 are Luol Deng and Kirk Heinrich. You might be in trouble because they're not going to take your mess.
True. But I'd say go on to say this. That team won a lot of damn games with Kirk Heinrich and Luol Deng before, but they had the opportunity to develop into that, right?
But I think even that, what's the most games they won? What, 45?
49, I think, right? Wasn't it? They think they won
49 win season.
49 win season, I believe.
We might have. Was Eddie still on the team then?
I think that was not Eddie.
Beat the Heat when we beat the Heat. We beat the Pistons.
I can't remember. I don't remember what year. I'd have to go through and look at the record, but I think we did have a 49 win season. Maybe it was like a 48 win season, something like that. The NBA was a lot different then as well. Like that was
I would also say this: 48 wins meant something.
yeah, that's true. So I mean, 48 wins still means something. You look at 48 wins right now. If you finish with 48 wins, you probably the 6th seed. 48 wins in the Eastern Conference. 48 wins would have you as the number 2 seed.
Yeah.
So I mean, it still matters, but I mean, you got to develop guys, and I think ultimately what we're seeing and what I think I don't necessarily disagree with what you're saying. I'm just at the point now, and this is something that I think you've made as well. DeMar DeRozan is artificially inflating what this team is right now.
Yeah.
And to his credit, he's great at what he does. Great at what he does. But if you take DeMar off this team and you look at your young players and you give them a season and say, hey, this is now your time. Show me what you got. And you come out of that and saying, oh, you guys are a bunch of 2s and 3s. Cool. It lets you know. So right now, the Bulls probably have
06, 07, by the way, 49 wins. You're right.
I remember some things from time to time.
06, 07, we won 49 wins, and then the next year we won 33.
30, and that's when we got Derrick Rose. It's so crazy. It's so crazy.
That was such a wild NBA, bro. 49 wins. What happened? Anomaly. They'll never do it again. We didn't.
But it's where the Bulls are right now is such an interesting place because I think everybody else sees you got to pick a direction. And AK's looking at it and saying, how many veterans can I get on the veteran minimum real quick? Those are, again, it goes back to what I said in the first segment. Stop making moves as if you've won some playoff series. Torrey Craig is a great move for a team that made it to the second round of the playoffs. It's like, we just need a little something off the bench. Not for a team that struggled. They couldn't even make it out the play-in tourney.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I see some of the comments here, and I'm rocking with the comments today because it's so bad, bro. Saying AK is guard 2.0. That's disrespectful to Gar. Let's not pretend like Gar didn't have multiple big win seasons. That's disrespectful to Gar. I hate to tell y'all this. Gar, when did Gar take over? Gar took over 09, 08?
It was the year right before the year before we signed, whatever that summer we signed Boozer. So whatever that was the year
before we signed. So 09, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Gar's got a 62 win season. He's got a 50 win season. He's got a 45 win season. He's got a 48 win season. He's got a 50 win season. He's got a 42 win season. And then they go 41 and 41. They blow it up. And then they go 27 and 55. 20.
But Gar also inherited a team that had drafted well for almost a decade and had an ascending MVP on it.
Yeah,
right.
But in those moments,
mm-hmm.
Gar also added your guys like Taj Gibson. Gar also added guys that we look at around the league. Like, we can't sit here and say, and I'm not advocating for Gar. He's a Muppet, right? But we can't sit here and say Bobby Portis is drafted by who?
Yeah.
Danielle Gafford is drafted by who?
Danielle Gafford?
We're not throwing it. I thought that was what I heard. I thought he upgraded the name because of the money.
What?
Thought it was Danielle Gafford now.
All right, you're tired, bro. Come on, let's wrap up the show.
No, I swear I've heard this now. I thought he was Danielle Gafford now. Was that just a white Texas call? Is that what?
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Locked On Bulls. You guys can follow Pat the Designer at Pat the Designer. Make sure you guys go and check him out as well over at ESPN 1000 at the Chicago Bears podcast. You can follow me at CEO Hayes. You can follow us collectively at Locked On Bulls. We are free and available on every podcasting app and platform of your choice, as well as YouTube. For Pat, I'm Hayes. This has been Locked On Bulls. He's Shaw. That man tired.
Nobody heard Danielle Gafford. I swear, go listen to this Dallas call. This man is getting called Danielle Gafford, bro. He like Manning out here, bro.
Oh, man, that's hilarious.
Cornelius heard it, bro. Cornelius heard it. That man almost broke a Wilt record. They said, Danielle, he ain't Daniel no more.